the government to treat them as such. And look, this is the reason that you join and form unions. This is the reason that you have the support. And this is why, understand, this is why Doge Boy and Trump and the rest of them are so vehemently anti-union, because there's someone going to stand up and fight them for doing whatever they want. They're used to having dictatorial powers, at-will powers. And when workers have the ability to say, we should have some security, so decent wages, decent benefits, yeah, they're not about that. So good on Everett Kelly and AFGE and the unions that are standing up and fighting this. They are the last line of saving our democracy. And look, they've been weakened by decades of Republican assaults. This is not new. It's just more public now. It's more brazen now. And look, if you're a current union member right now, it's not long before it's you. First they came for the public sector workers, and you did nothing. And then they're going to come for you, and then they're going to come for everything else. OSHA, federal wage laws, overtime, minimum wage. They're going to come for everybody. It's angering, it's frustrating, and I hope there's some outrage out there. But I want to hear it. Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Is this something that gets under your skin? I want to hear it. Also, miss any portion of the program, podcast. And as always, thanks for being here. We'll see you back here next time.
You've been listening to The Rick Smith Show. Email Rick at rick@thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
AP News, I'm Karen Shamas. Ukraine's president says a Russian drone with a high explosive warhead has struck the protective shell of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. Zelensky said that the strike damaged the structure and started a fire which has been put out. Ukrainian emergency service footage showed the moment of the impact and the damage to the confinement, including interiors of the shell being hosed down with water following the strike. Pope Francis will be hospitalized at Rome's Gemelli Polyclinic at the end of Friday's daily audiences. The Vatican said in a statement that Francis will undergo some necessary diagnostic tests and continue his ongoing treatment for bronchitis in the hospital.
Buongiorno.
Francis was diagnosed with bronchitis last Thursday, but he has continued to hold daily audiences in his Vatican hotel suite and preside over general audiences. He even presided at an outdoor mass last Sunday. He has, however, handed off his speeches for an aide to read aloud, saying he was having trouble breathing. A federal judge in Boston has blocked an executive order from President Donald Trump on birthright citizenship. Trump's order would end birthright citizenship for the children of parents who are in the U.S. illegally. U.S. District Judge Leo Sorokin has become the fourth judge to block the order. The ruling came 3 days after U.S. District Judge Joseph LaPlante in New Hampshire blocked the executive order. It also follows similar rulings in Seattle and Maryland. In a 31-page ruling, Sorokin said that the Constitution confers birthright citizenship broadly, including to persons within the categories described in the president's executive order. The Boston case was filed by the Democratic Attorneys General of 18 states and is one of at least 10 lawsuits challenging the birthright citizenship order. AP correspondent Ben Thomas reports a kayaker has survived the mouth of a whale.
Humpback whales, massive creatures but filter feeders, eating things like krill or small fish. They do not prey on seals, dolphins, or humans, though it's not unheard of for one to end up in its mouth.
Claro, mucho terror.
Just ask Adrian Simancas. He was kayaking in the Strait of Magellan off Chilean Patagonia when a humpback breached. Mouth wide open, and in went Adrian, who thought he'd been eaten and swallowed, all in front of his father Del, who had a camera running, as the whale spat him right back out in a matter of seconds, unhurt. Adrian says he worried the Leviathan could yet deliver a whack, incapacitating them in the freezing waters, but they both made it back to shore safely. And Adrian speculated the humpback may have just been curious or perhaps wanted to communicate. I'm Ben Thomas.
And I'm Karen Shamas. This is AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty snow showers possible late today. Otherwise, partial sunshine develops. We'll see a high in the upper 20s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. For tonight, a chance for some snow, possibly mixing with freezing rain here late. Cloudy with temperatures holding steady. Saturday, a chance for snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times. Cloudy and a high around 35. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 7 above.
In a new Porsche, performance, style, and class come together to elevate every drive. Come find your new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park today. Stop in to test drive the latest models, including a new 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease a new 2025 Macan for $899 a month for 39 months. Visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. 8729 to its signing. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 2/28/25.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday and Valentine's Day morning, progressives, and welcome to the February 14th, January 2025, February 14th, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278, Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and iHeart, as well as make your way over to our Heartland platform so you can check us out from there. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com, and definitely catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I have to turn my phone off. I can't believe I didn't turn the volume off. Anyhow, that's where you can catch your Choose Views, short versions and long versions, of course. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows on the weekend and throughout the course of our week. Most definitely check out our heartlandsignal.com platform. Pass it on, folks. Pass it on to the people you care about. So speaking of that, I, on the air, proudly will wish my wonderful wife, Ann, a very, very happy Valentine's Day. Fellas, and ladies too, make sure you give your loved one and loved ones the acknowledgement of Valentine's, and a happy Valentine's Day to those who you care about. Even if it's your mom or your pops, reach out to them today, or your brother or your sister, and say, hey, happy Valentine's Day. It's a day that's supposed to celebrate love and the ones that you do love. And I say happy Valentine's Day to you guys that are listeners to my show here on WCPT, all of our shows here on WCPT. We thank you, and we send you our happy Valentines. Will you be my Valentine? Please, pretty please. So thank you guys, and thanks for the love that we get from you. And we hope that we bring some love and joy to your lives each day with our broadcast. And most definitely a shout out right out of the gate to our progressive lineup today, the Stephanie Miller Show, my radio sister on the West Coast, the Tom Hartman Show, professor of everything progressive, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, and again, Patty Vasquez, Driving It Home. So send some love to them today, guys. When you call in, let them know you love them. And we definitely love that you guys are with us and part of our programming. That being said, let's keep it moving, because today we are going to be pretty busy. In studio with us will be our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast, and Natalie Ziemba, who is a councilwoman way up there in Woodstock, Illinois. For those of you who are not from the area, it's a Chicago. I'm sorry, it's a Illinois community that is north of Chicago. and it's a wonderful community. And Natalie will be with us to talk about everything Woodstock and all the rest, and some of the work that she's doing with some of the organizations, Henry, that she's a part of. She's that person. She is. She's just out there doing stuff, and excited to have both of these wonderful progressive women leaders in the studio today. So looking forward to that. And then speaking of a leader, y'all, Sherman Dilla Thomas, the new brand ambassador and social media chief at the DuSable History Museum. Talk about a dude that's made some things happen. And it'll be great to have him with us this morning. He'll be calling in as a guest. So I'm excited about the folks that we have today here in studio and calling in. And we'll love to hear from you guys. So don't hesitate to give us a call. We'll get you on, and we'll try to do something we don't normally do, and that's when we have in-studio guests get you on when you call in. So we'll try to work that out. As long as Henry gives me the nod and says it's cool, then we do it, because Henry runs things here. I'm his road dog as much as he's my road dog. So without my man Henry, and of course Devin for me during the week, and a shout out to Lady B. Happy Valentine's Day, Lady B. I can't leave you out of that conversation, and certainly to Paul as well. And Mike Mercado, don't be upset that I didn't give you a happy Valentine's, Mike. I know you're probably going, come on, Rich. Mike's the dude, though, isn't he, Henry? Mike's good people. He really is. Mike's the kind of dude that you probably could call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, he might be here, but you could call him at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, Mike, man, listen, I messed up. I need your help. And he'd be like, okay, let me get my shoes on. I'll be there. So Mike's good people. Happy Valentine's to you as well, Mike. So, Henry, we got to stay tight, so keep me tight. I'm going to hit some quick Choose Views news, and then we'll talk about some things that you guys can do this weekend here in Chicago, given that it is Valentine's weekend, and we want to see folks getting out and about and doing what you can. But major grocers, man, oh, man, we saw it coming. We tried to tell you. Major grocers enforce egg limits. Eggs are growing more expensive and more scarce. And the scarcity part is really a concern. More grocery chains, including Costco, have placed limits on the number of cartons shoppers can buy due to shortages caused by bird flu. At Trader Joe's, customers can't purchase more than 12 eggs per day, while some Kroger locations have a 2 dozen, cutoff. Egg prices, which jumped 14% in 1 month, are expected to climb another 20% this year. Leading restaurants are adding an egg surcharge. So here's what you all do. This is what you do. There's nothing stopping you from doing this. This increase in egg price, just go to your computer, type up a Word document. I wrote this down yesterday when I was reading the story, and I'm just going to tell you guys, seriously, I'm not joking around. I want y'all to sit down as these egg prices start to go up, Henry, and gas prices, if gas prices go up, or any other things that Donald Trump promised he was going to take down on day one. And let's just start with egg prices. I want y'all to sit at your computers. I want you to open up a Word document and type up an invoice. Every week that you go grocery shopping, you have to buy any grocery that hasn't gone down. It's easy to go back to November 3rd and see what the price of something was. Pick 3 things and what they are today. And if the prices have gone up, which they are going to because of these doggone tariffs, just type up an invoice of the spread between what it was on the 3rd and what it is of a given week. And take that invoice, put it in an envelope, and send it to the White House. And say, where's my money? Meanwhile, if you're going to let Doge boys get $7 million and other millions of dollars that are out there that are being allocated to these fools, send me my money for the increase that I'm paying in eggs. You might think I'm crazy. I'm not joking. What's the stamp going to cost you, 60 cents? What is the stamp right now? I've forgotten. I've been bought stamps in such a long time. But put a stamp on it, fill it out, the address, and send it to the White House and say, where's my money? Where's my reduction? Anyhow, that's taking action. That's doing something out of the box, kind of crazy. But, let them know. That's how we let them know that we are not playing around this time. All right. The Fed is in no rush to resume rate cuts. Federal Reserve is in no hurry to cut interest rates again, given its commitment to slowing inflation. However, another article says about inflation being up. The overall strength of the U.S. economy, of course, is there. However, Fed is kind of got their foot on the brake. In remarks this week to Congress, Chairman Jerome Powell said the central bank would hold rates steady if price growth didn't cool further or resume cutting rates if the economy should weaken. The Fed lowered its key rate during the last 3 meetings in 2024 and left rates unchanged in January. Meta. Layoffs are underway. Yes, they are. A round of layoffs affecting 3,600 workers is underway at Meta, with some affected employees receiving emails earlier this week, according to Business Insider reports. Meta said in January that the redundancy would affect 5% of its workforce and target lower performers, prompting speculation that the staffers might not receive severance. That's just disgusting. Okay. However, U.S. employees will receive at least 16 weeks salary, according to Bloomberg. Also anonymously, per USA Today, Meta will replace laid-off employees with machine learning engineers. And I hope they break some stuff, meaning not the employees, but the machines do. Without severance, that's just tight. I mean, boy, today's not the day. Boomers headed for housing waiting lists. What does this mean? Within a year, the oldest baby boomers are set to turn 80, the age that which many people transition into senior housing. What can they expect? According to the Wall Street Journal, our waiting list. Construction of senior housing ground to a halt during the pandemic, and inflation has prevented it from picking up since then. This means that only about 191,000 of the 560,000 units needed nationwide by 2030 are likely to be built, pricing many seniors out of housing options, and that is not good. BuzzFeed's social media play. What does that mean? BuzzFeed has announced its plans to develop its own social media platform, promising to offer an alternative to apps such as TikTok and Instagram. Those specific details on the platform are scarce. BuzzFeed CEO Jonah Peretti says the venture will utilize as much artificial intelligence to give users agency instead of stealing their agency. So we'll see where that goes. And as we said earlier, inflation has definitely ticked up. So pay attention in that space as well with regard to what some of your costs are. How educators are redefining DEI. This was the latest, I should say, as more companies follow the federal government's lead and pull back on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Some educational groups are stepping in to bridge the gap during this being Black History Month. But is DEI really dead? No, says some strategists in Harvard University and Harvard Business Review. However, it does need to evolve beyond cosmetic and performative gestures to a data and outcomes-centered framework. Okay, sure. The minute we start to make that same requirement on nepotism and nepo hires, that's where's the performative and where's the outcome-centered framework when it comes to the nepo hires that we know are rampant? There you go. A little sarcasm from me, but meant with the intent that I'm coming to you with. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Now we got the things rolling here. 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
Join me and WCPT Radio at the Southland Friends of Labor 16th Annual Jobs Breakfast, Monday, February 24th. We will be in Joliet at IBEW Local 176. This special union event is free to all active and retired union members and all WCPT listeners. Come and enjoy a great breakfast and WCPT's special broadcast with me. Guests being interviewed include Andy Rico, Business Manager, IBEW Local 176, Bob Howard, President of the Chicago and Western Lakesport Council, and Stephen Powell, President of Local 881 UFCW. Doors open at 7:30. If you want to attend, please call or text 708-996-1291 and leave a voicemail to save a seat. Free to all WCPT listeners and active and retired union members. See you on the 24th.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Chew's View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chew's Views. Of course, the number is 773-763-9278. Give us a call and send us a text. But for now, let's make sure that this weekend, that being Valentine's Day weekend, you got a few things to check out and do. So you can start by making your way over to Navy Pier if you're here in Chicago, of course. Valentine's Day fireworks at Navy Pier will be happening today, which is the 14th at 9 p.m. So it'll be a very, very spectacular show and display. So make your way over. It might be a little chilly out or cold. But that's happening over at Navy Pier today at 9 p.m. The Chicago Theater Week is still running strong. So go online and ask yourself, what can I go and see? So check out this weekend here in Chicago. Experience everything the Chicago Theater has to offer. The auto show is still running strong until Monday, the 17th. So make your way out to McCormick Place for the Chicago Auto Show. Been going since 1901, Henry. That's a long time. But we keep doing it. One of the best auto shows in America, and that's at 2301 South King Drive. Taylor Tomlinson's Save Me Tour is taking place as well at the Chicago Theater, 175 North State. That's something you can probably still get some tickets for this weekend. And an event evening with Jason Isbell, 6-time Grammy winner. Jason will be performing at the Auditorium Theater. Let's see. Looking Glass has got some good work going on there. Presents the Circus Quixote. That will be playing today, tomorrow, Sunday, 163 East Pearson. So you can certainly take that on. Second City's got some great things happening. The City Blackout Cabaret. And let's see. Last but not least, Heart of Chicago Soul Valentine's Dance Party at the Chicago Soul Club, and that's taking place at 1354 West Wabansia. So make your way over there, guys. Lots of Valentine's focused things to do here in Chicago this weekend, and we hope you guys can get out and enjoy yourselves. If you don't know what to do, just Google and make your way out and do some fun stuff. All right, guys, today as well, keep in mind that we've got our great colleague, Joan Esposito, live, local and progressive, 2 to 5. She'll be taking your calls and talking to Illinois State Rep. Cam Buckner, legal analyst Jill Wine-Banks, Chicago artist Tony Fitzpatrick, and many more. Live, local, and progressive, Joan Esposito today, 2 to 5 p.m. on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, and tune in. And then tonight, 5 to 7, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Liz Monroy, author of the novel The Distractions, a tale of how technology enables obsession, envy, and unrelenting comparison. Sorry about that. So check out Patty today from 5 to 6 p.m., Driving It Home, Central Time, WCPT AM 820, and, of course, the Heartland Signal website as well. Tune in, and Facebook and YouTube. There you go. My podcast, of course, over at the WCPT Heartland Signal website. You can check out all of our interviews, as I say often, the short versions and the long versions, and by simply searching Choose Views, or get the links from my show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and by clicking my picture. And if you're listening live, you can go to TuneIn, and we know you can go to the heartlandsignal.com page as well to check us out, guys. That's what's happening. All right, before we went to break, I was talking about inflation and talking about it from the perspective of what you can do. And, you know, we've got a lot of things that we can be doing and should be doing. But I'll tell you this right now when it comes to this. Contact not only your reps and senators, but contact the White House. And by calling the White House, you let them know we're out here. Call. You could put it in your calendar to make it a thing to do on every Friday or on every Monday. I'm calling, I would position it like this, as I was thinking about this last night. I would call the White House once a week, every Friday, to let them know. Ask the question, hey, is Donald playing golf this weekend, or is he working to bring the price of eggs down? Just call up and ask that question. Hey, is Donald playing golf this weekend, or is he working to get the price of gas down? You could come up with 52 things, so you can make a call every week. to the White House to ask, is Donald doing this? Don't even ask. Don't even say, is the president. Just ask, is Donald doing this? Do it every once a week. I'm sorry, once a week for 52 weeks. Imagine if half of the people that voted for Kamala Harris did that every week. And imagine, Henry, if half of the people that didn't vote at all did that every week. Every week, y'all. Just on Friday at noon. Or Friday, maybe better, Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from wherever you are in the country. Because if you're in California, even if you're in Hawaii, it's 6 hours. It'd be middle of the morning. But, call 9 o'clock your time, wherever you are, to the White House and say, hey, what's Donald doing? Is he playing golf or is he working to get inflation down? Is he getting the price of eggs down like he promised? Has he stopped the war in Ukraine like he promised? And I'm not making light of this, guys. I mean, that's a very inexpensive but highly effective way to do two things. One, it lets them know you're paying attention. Two, it gives you something to do that you have in your calendar every week. I'm calling the White House. On a different day of the week, you could call one of the elected officials in your district or one of the two senators in your state. So this week, call Dick Durbin. Next week, call Tammy Baldwin. I'm sorry, Tammy Duckworth. You can call Tammy Baldwin, too. I'm sure she'd appreciate the call since she's one of our neighboring senators. But I get emails from people that say, Richard, what should I do? I'm concerned. I'm worried. I'm this, I'm that. And I totally get that. So take action. And that's a fairly easy one to do. I mean, you can Google. I certainly could provide you with numbers, but you can Google your senator. They've got local offices in the state that you're in, and they've got their offices in D.C. And the representatives have, in many cases, sometimes multiple offices, depending. So just go online and pull the people in your own state and call them once a week. Leave a message if you don't get through. And I'm not making light of the situations that we're in, but I want folks to be able to say, I've got something to do this week. I've got to call my House of Representative rep or the ones for our state. I've got to call one of my two senators and just alternate and have a message that you're prepared to leave, so you're not stumbling. Just know, hi, this is Richard Chew. You're one of my senators in the state of Illinois. You need to be banging the gavel a little bit harder. You need to be fighting a little bit stronger. You need to be pushing back. We want to see you on the mic every week. You should be holding a press conference every week. Something like that lets even our representatives, those that are, our blue elected officials, know we're paying attention. And when it comes to calling the White House, absolutely. Because I think that sometimes, I think it was Steve that called in yesterday. I don't remember exactly who it was, so I apologize. But one of the things that was said is that we've lost some of our, I say this often, but it's always great when you guys are seeing this yourselves, that we've lost some of our ground. And I think part of one of the reasons we've lost some of our ground is, it was Dr. Schrader that said this in terms of local elections and local activity, is that we don't do some of the most basic things. So on a local level, yeah, you've got to call Mayor Johnson's office. You got to call our other representatives in the state and our city council members here in Chicago. Do the same thing if you're in Seattle, Washington, or if you're in, Portland, Oregon, or if you're in Austin, Texas. It's easy stuff to do, but sometimes I think what happens is people don't think it's effective. Well, there's two parts of it that are effective. One is that you make the call and you let them know that we're paying attention. The second is it allows you to not feel like I'm not doing anything and then just watching the traffic go by. No, don't do this. But every now and again, you got to run out in traffic, not literally. Every now and again, you got to go to the corner and make something happen and let people know that you're there. That's why I'm saying this, and that's why I go back to my point about where we are with inflation and eggs. Send a receipt, send an invoice rather to the White House and ask, why are my eggs not lower? I would I'd bet a little bit on this one, maybe. I'm not a gambling person, but I'd bet a little bit on this, Henry. 75 million people voted for Kamala Harris. Simple math. 78 and 75. 78 for Orange Menace, 34-time convicted felon, and 75 for the three-time elected to the elected to three branches of government, Kamala Harris, giving her props. What would it look like if half of the people who voted for her sat down, typed up an invoice, typed up a bill, and filled out an envelope, put a stamp on it, and sent it to the White House? And maybe on the front of the envelope wrote in red pen, "Where's my money?" And inside is the invoice to Donald Trump, not to the United States of America, but address it to Donald Trump. Where's my money? Where are my lower prices for eggs and gas? Let's just pick 5 things off the top of our head. Let's start with eggs, then gas, and then why is the war not ended in Ukraine? And just send an invoice. This is what you're costing us, what you've cost us. And I know it sounds a little crazy, guys, but sometimes we have to take a different approach. We have to be willing to, think outside and perform outside of the box. So, it sounds a little crazy sending an invoice to the White House. Where's my money for the eggs? And when I think of things like this, I go, okay, people are probably going to go, Richard's lost his mind. I really don't worry about that. I know that I haven't. I know I'm trying to fix stuff. I'm trying to, this is my version of a precisely used sledgehammer. 50 million people that voted for Kamala Harris, and 30 million, a third of those that didn't vote at all. So now we got 80 million people that send a letter to the White House addressed to Donald Trump that says, where's my money? I think it'd be interesting. And I'll lead the charge. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. Of course, the number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and yes, we will be right back.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the award-winning online learning program.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Designed by education experts, ABC Mouse seamlessly aligns with what your child is already learning in school. And with over 10,000 learning activities and more than 850 lessons, it's an engaging and comprehensive curriculum. More info at abcmouse.com/radio.
I have been teaching for 13 years, and I've never seen a program like ABC Mouse. It encompasses science, math, reading, social studies.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials. Sponsored by Age of Learning.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty snow showers possible late today. Otherwise, partial sunshine develops. We'll see a high in the upper 20s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. For tonight, a chance for some snow, possibly mixing with freezing rain here late. Cloudy with temperatures holding steady. Saturday, a chance for snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times. Cloudy and a high around 35. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 7 above.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Okay, according, this was just sent to me by my favorite Valentine, that it was 77 million that actually voted for the Orange Menace. So thank you for that little bit of editorial assistance. 37.96. What does that represent? 37.96. $37.96. What does that mean? So it was sent to me as well by our good friend Kurt in Ohio. The price of a stamp is 73 cents. Now, like I said, I was embarrassed I didn't know the price of stamps. But $37.96. What's that represent, Henry? That's 52 times 73 cents. In other words, for less than $40 for the year, you could send a letter to the White House once a week for the year that says, where's my money? Why isn't inflation down? And the list goes on. You can pick 52 things. Some of them you could repeat. I'm just saying, guys, let's take action. Let's find ways to be creative. And I know that may sound goofy as hell and even cornier. But I want you guys to say, I'm going to take some action. I'm going to go after this dude. And just imagine, Henry, 50 million plus the 30 million of the 90 that didn't vote did that on a weekly basis. It'd be bigger than the classic scene from Miracle on 34th Street, when a dude's sitting in the witness stand, and the bags come in. That's the kind of stuff we can do. And they're not going to tell us to stop. And it's not like we're disclosing where we live because we put, our address, our return address on there. They already know. So don't find reasons not to do that. Okay? Do not find reasons not to do that. I don't care if you're in a downtown metropolitan city in the country or if you're in a rural community and you're upset about this. There's something you can do to take some action. And be less concerned about if they're going to suddenly do the things to help affect prices, but be more concerned about the fact that you're letting them know that you're letting them know that you're watching, and they're not just going to, throw so much garbage at us that we can't breathe to make a decision to do something about this. And tie into that a phone call a week to one of your senators or one of your representatives on a federal level to stand up and fight. And the third thing I'll tell you is, and next week we're going to have a little bit more information on this, District 1, District 6 in Florida, and Elise Stefanik's district in New York, let's go after those with all the vim and vigor that we have to win those seats back. That means we take back the House of Representatives, and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries becomes Majority Leader. So let me tell you let me give you guys a visual for a moment. Whether you've agreed with, sided with everything and every way that Minority Leader Jeffries has handled things since the election, he's got a fire hose coming at him too. But this is what I want. This is the visual I want you guys to have. Because right now, I believe a lot of people are just sitting going, holy, you know what? What are we going to do? And watching a 4-year-old child, hold court in the Oval Office. And how is this America? I get it. But I'm going to put a different visual in your mind. I want to help you manifest something. And that's this. Imagine Speaker Jeffries is the person that's at that podium in Congress. Imagine that. Imagine every time Donald Trump decides to do something crazy that Hakeem Jeffries is stepping to the mic as Speaker of the House of Representatives to say, no, not only are you not going to do it, but we have our entire caucus lined up. We have the votes. And guess what we can do? We can push toward impeaching you and have the ability to do something about it. We know the Senate may not sign off on it, but we're going to still make the move. That's the kind of thing that will galvanize people that didn't vote to say, okay, the Dems are really doing something. And start to put the brakes on some of the craziness that's out there. So when I say put that in your brain, and that's the picture you want, and that's the manifestation we want politically. That can't happen if we don't work from all over the country to help win those seats in Florida and Stefanik's seat in New York. None of that can happen if we don't put in the work to make those three things happen. It's that literal. It's that specific. So, in terms of running for office, in terms of seats that are open, you all know that Minnesota's seat, one of the Senate seats, is open, meaning that from what I've been reading, that Governor Tim Walz is considering running for the U.S. Senate next year after Senator Tina Smith has announced that she would be retiring. And not only has he said he's going to run, but guess who else said he's going to run? That guy that got run out of town, Al's going to run, and not Al Sharpton. Yeah. So Minnesota may be making some moves right now to put some new faces in the U.S. Senate. I think that Governor Walz would make a great senator. He's been a great governor, and he's got a great lieutenant governor that would potentially be able to step in. So, I think that we could be in a really good space there. We want to keep that seat, that Senate seat. Whether it be Governor Walz or Al Franken in that seat, we want to keep it. So we got some people on our bench that are great players, and I think that Governor Walz would make a great senator. He's been a great governor, and I believe that if Al Franken were to run and he were to win, that would be something great as well. So we'll see what happens. But to that end, keep your eyes open, and as that starts to happen, we want to be able to be in their corners to help them across that line. There's some other strong people that are stiff competition. The Attorney General up there, Keith Ellison, he is a firebrand, smart. He's equally capable as any of the folks are. That's why I said we have a great bench of people. And speaking of senators, I have a clip that I'm going to play. We put together, Henry and I put together, we want to play for you guys in terms of Senator Sheldon Whitehouse is not to be messed with, guys. He is definitely someone that you want to be following. You want to call his office and give him his praise and, let him know we appreciate his voice. So I want you guys to hear a clip that we put together from Senator Sheldon Whitehouse.
Who defends us against Russian intelligence operations and Russia's criminal operations in the United States? It's the FBI, it's the Department of Justice, and it's our intelligence community. The people in charge of each one have sent powerful signals that they are shutting down our defenses when it comes to Russia. And we're about to head to the Munich Security Conference, where we are seeing Mr. Art of the Deal and his operatives giving away every piece of leverage that we have over Putin with respect to Ukraine. It is unilateral disarmament to throw Ukraine under the bus and give Putin what he wants. So mark my words. This Patel guy will come back to haunt you. Every piece of evidence shows that, and it is not Democrat evidence. It's his own words, it's his own colleagues, and it's judges evaluating his credibility. And Trump Russia is going to come roaring back if it's not already back. We should be on our guard about this nominee, and we should be on our guard about Trump Russia.
So I liked how he puts it, this Patel guy. Just dissing him as he should. So, one of our strong senators, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, and our bench is strong in these races that are coming up in terms of these special elections. So let's make sure that we are leaning in. And like I said, next week, I'm hoping to have a little bit more information in terms of the conversation around the two districts in Florida, 1 and 6, and Stefanik's up in New York. Keeping on the theme, before we go to break, of our senators speaking truth to power. voice that we haven't heard from in a while, but she definitely has made it clear that, she knows what she's talking about better than those who pretend to be, deal makers and leaders. And what I'm speaking about is another clip that Henry and I put together from Senator Warren talking about the CFPB.
This is an agency that literally, over the 13 years it's been out there working, has recovered more than $21 billion that these big financial institutions have cheated people out of, and actually returned the money to the people that they cheated. So what Donald Trump has done, saying he really wanted to lower costs, is he's taken this agency that is the cop on the beat for the cheaters, and when they get caught cheating, makes them give the money back. And he said, cops, step aside, look the other way. We don't care how big the scam is. We don't care who's getting hurt. Just everybody put your pins down, fold your hands, put them in your lap, and let the scams roll on.
What do you make about the way they have done this? Because you and I have spoken before, since the formation of the CFPB, about all the ways that Republicans have tried to come after it and all the ways that, people who represent these financial institutions have tried to kill it, have tried to undermine it. If it was this easy, if it was just a proclamation, tell all the workers to go home, stop working on any of this stuff, and by the way, we're shutting the building, why didn't they do it like this before? It seems to me like that might be an indication that this isn't actually a legal way to close this agency.
Oh, that's exactly right. Congress created this agency. There were laws that were passed, right? They passed a bill in the House, passed a bill in the Senate, did a conference, got the thing through. It was signed into law by the President of the United States. And only Congress, not Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, not some 22-year-old programmer. Only Congress can shut this agency down. But here's the trick on that one. You notice none of the Republicans, they beat on their chests and they're big manly guys and they keep putting in these bills to say, let's shut down the consumer agency. But they don't actually want a real vote on that. A lot of them don't actually want to stand next to exactly what they're trying to do. And that is shut down the agency that has handled more than 6 million consumer complaints by people who got cheated, by their credit card companies, by payday loan companies. They don't want to admit what they're trying to do.
So, to her point, the last bit, they don't want to be in the room when it happens. Lin-Manuel. But that's a great song. It really is a great song. But staying on point, and then we go to break. She's speaking the truth. They want to beat their chest and trash talk, but when it comes to delivering the goods, they don't want to be there because they know that there are people in their constituencies that will actually be harmed because the CFPB doesn't have blue on it. Like, we only help blue states and blue consumers and folks that get hung up with credit card issues in blue states. It's a national effort. So there's folks in this is why I'm going to say this and we'll go to break. All right. Let's go to break, and when we come back, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
Hey, you. I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber? More laxatives? More of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Thanks for your text this morning. Let me just say where I was going to say before we went to break. So listen, what Senator Warren talks about in terms of the CFPB, let's just be honest, y'all. It helps folks in all communities. It's not designed to just help folks in blue communities, but it's a national effort. Okay, so one of the conversations that I've heard on Progressive Talk lately is we can't be calling people that are on the right or the MAGA or that are the regular GOP stupid, because it's offensive to them, and how are we going to win them back? I'm not really concerned or caring about winning people back necessarily, because that would say and make the assumption that they were with us from Jump Street, and I don't believe that they were. They just found a way to slither, I should say, into voting for the Orange Menace and all of the other minions associated with that. So I don't need to be concerned, and I don't think the Democratic Party needs to be concerned from a strategy standpoint with winning back. They're either going to come back, Henry, or they're not. Let's just call it as it is and stop wasting time and political capital and effort across the board on the folks that we want to win back. Because I'm telling you, I'm using my lifeguard skill set here. The people that are right around you, when a boat, and then we were taught this, you guys have heard me say this before, that if a boat has an accident and people are in the water, you save the ones that are closest to you first. And then when you get them to safety, what you may find is there's someone in that can help you save others. But if you spend your energy saving those that are furthest away, yelling the loudest, making the most drama, you will end up losing the ones that are closest to you and then lose everybody. And the closest people to us from a voting standpoint, from an action standpoint, are the people that didn't vote. Not changing. So it's sort of like the people that didn't vote are kind of in the middle, because they're like, I could go one way or the other. I'm not going to do anything. I'm on the fence. I'm not going to do anything. Versus somebody that's way over here, Henry, way over here. And we're steady trying to reach them. No, get those folks that are right in the middle and say, listen, man, we know we messed up. We didn't give you maybe what you needed to hear messaging-wise enough. I don't know, but you're right there. Come join us. Let's start going after those folks rather than, and this is the point I wanted to make about tying this to CFPB and Senator Warren, about not calling MAGAs stupid and others that voted for this craziness stupid. I think that, and the reason for not doing it, Henry, from what I'm hearing from some of the other voices in the progressive conversation, is because they're going to be offended and ticked off, and it's going to be hard to win them back. Well, damn them. They made a stupid decision because they were too arrogant and too willfully ignorant to listen to what we were trying to say, telling us we were the dumb ones. We were the ones that were the shills and in the tank and all the rest. Y'all remember that? So my man Chris Lavoie, that's on the Stephanie Miller show, is having this beef with people about don't call them stupid. I don't agree with that. If they did something stupid, call her behind stupid. And yeah, I said it. Because it needs to be said. We waste too much time coddling the hope that the person that's the furthest away is suddenly going to join us when we're just walking right by. Right there. Folks, right there. They just want us to tap them on the hand and say, come on, join us. Get with us. We got you. We're just walking right by to the end of the block for that one person down at the end of the block. Right, Henry? So how do I link this to what Senator Warren is saying? Is this is a program, a platform that's designed to help anybody in the country. That's why it's important to understand that the CFPB is not a partisan effort. It's a national effort to help all of the citizens of the United States of America from fraud. Because the credit card companies and other institutions that are increasing these fees and these hidden fees and all this rest of this stuff. I mean, the people who are benefiting from that the most, oftentimes, Henry, let's just be honest, are the people that actually have less access to the information that they need to understand what those agencies are designed to do. Now, are those folks in certain areas of the country geographically? Yes, they are. There's no question about it that they are. They're in parts of the country where they have less access to internet. They have less access to other support mechanisms. I'm not saying they're stupid, but I am saying that they are in geographical areas that we already know have less access to these types of tools. So why in the heck would we not want those agencies to benefit those folks? So stop worrying about offending people that did something stupid. And because sometimes they need to be told that. They do need to be treated like children when they act like children. Right? And I mean, you got younger cousins and that act fools sometimes. You need to call them on their junk. And that's the thing that Democratic leaders and other folks have got to be willing to do, is call them on their craziness. And that's where we are right now, I believe. And I think it's really important to make it clear that we're willing to embrace you being part of the party and under the tent. But if you've been over here acting a doggone fool for all this time, you got to sit at the back of the room and just be quiet. And when you're asked to do something to help, then just get up and do it. And that's the group of people that I believe are starting to, what's the word I want to use? Those are the people that are starting to come out and say things like, I didn't realize this was what I was doing. I made a mistake. I made a mistake, or I would never vote for him again, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's why I remain having some hope, guys, in terms of, and I know that some of you might say, Richard, but what the hell is that all about? I remain having hope that we can fix this if we just hold on to the fact that there are people out there that are willing to join the party that didn't join the party last time. I'm not going to waste any energy trying to change the minds of those who made a conscious decision to pull a gun on me, so to speak. I'm not working with those folks. So don't get me wrong. I want us to work with the people that didn't know what to do. And maybe that's a weak A way to be. I'm willing to embrace that a little bit. But the people who consciously said, nah, Rich, I'm pulling a gun on you, dude, I have nothing for them. And I think that's the kind of energy that you're seeing from the Sheldon White Houses and from the Senator Warrens. So, tie that all together in your own mind and recognize that we sometimes have to let people know that was a stupid thing to do. And I'm not going to be hugging on you and loving on you until you make the determination, the decision that, and say it out loud. That was stupid. You're not stupid, but what you did was stupid. And when that happens, I believe when that happens, rather than saying if that happens, when that happens, then I think that, a change will come. But until that period of time, we have to let them know. Groups like CFPB are there to help you. And you decided that I don't need the help. Really? So there you go, guys. So as we come to the top of the hour and hit this break, we're going to have in the second hour some guests in studio that are going to hang out with us. And then we're going to have some calls from people that are going to talk to us. And it's going to be fun. So sit tight. When we get back, we'll grab your calls. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. After working several odd jobs in New York City, Henry Johnson found his way into the National Guard during World War I. Johnson was assigned to the 369th Infantry Regiment, but the all-black unit was better known as the Harlem Hellfighters. The Hellfighters' first task was assisting the French Fourth Army. On May 15, 1918, Hellfighter Johnson noticed Germans attempting to break in. Johnson retreated to get backup from the French troops, noticing German soldiers were attempting to kidnap another Hellfighter. Despite standing at only 5'4", Johnson sprung into action. With only 3 bullets and a bolo knife, Johnson was able to kill 4 enemy soldiers and wounded 21 others, causing them to retreat, saving himself and his men. However, Johnson received a total of 21 injuries all over his body, including his left foot being shattered. Johnson was discharged, and his papers did not show his heroism or his injury, leaving him unable to receive any disability compensation, leaving Johnson penniless at the time of his death at age 36. Johnson's heroism went unnoticed for decades until President Barack Obama awarded him the Medal of Honor in 2015.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News. Good morning, I'm Ed Donahue. Ukraine's president says a Russian drone with high explosive warheads struck a protective shell at the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. The AP's Karen Shamas has the story.
Video footage shared by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine showed the moment of the impact and the damage to the confinement, including interiors of the shell being hosed down with water following the strike. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wrote on his social media page that the attack was carried out with a high explosive warhead. He said that the strike damaged the structure and started a fire which has been put out. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed the information, saying that their team on site heard an explosion coming from the confinement. The new safe confinement, as it is known, was built in 2016 with European and US assistance to safeguard the remains of the 4th reactor of the power plant, which was destroyed during the Chernobyl disaster in 1986. I'm Karen Shamas.
President Trump rolled out his plan to increase tariffs to match the tax rates that other countries charge on imports. He talked about it during a meeting with India's Narendra Modi.
Whatever India charges, we charge them. So, frankly, it no longer matters to us that much what they charge.
First, it was the wildfires in Southern California. Now it's heavy rain. Debris flow is a big problem. Jeremiah Small lives in Altadena.
We're trying to do our own personal assessment of risk and not get caught up in the hype train, but also not be, casual about it either.
He spoke to KABC. In another wildfire area, Pacific Palisades, one intersection of highway was submerged in at least 3 feet of sludge. To the north, snow and ice contributed to major pileups on highways in Oregon and Washington. The Vatican says 88-year-old Pope Francis is in a hospital to treat a week-long bout of bronchitis and undergo diagnostic tests. This is AP News. There will be no Steph Curry-Sabrina Ionescu matchup at the All-Star Weekend.
The NBA announced Thursday that the three-point shooting event bringing together 2 of the biggest stars in the NBA and WNBA is not going to be part of the lineup in San Francisco. It was the hit of All-Star Weekend last year. Talks went on for weeks to try to make the rematch happen, even stretching into All-Star Week itself. It seemed more than logical a rematch would occur. All-Star Weekend is on Curry's home floor this weekend, and Ionescu is a Bay Area native. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says her government won't rule out filing a civil suit against Google if it maintains its stance of calling the stretch of sea between northeastern Mexico and the southeastern U.S. the Gulf of America. The area, long named the Gulf of Mexico across the world, has gained a spotlight after President Trump declared he would change the Gulf's name. I'm Ed Donahue.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty snow showers possible late today. Otherwise, partial sunshine develops. We'll see high in the upper 20s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. For tonight, a chance for some snow, possibly mixing with freezing rain here late. Cloudy with temperatures holding steady. Saturday, a chance for snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times. Cloudy and a high around 35. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 7 above.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the award-winning online learning program.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Designed by education experts, ABC Mouse seamlessly aligns with what your child is already learning in school. And with over 10,000 learning activities and more than 850 lessons, it's an engaging and comprehensive curriculum. More info at abcmouse.com/radio.
I have been teaching for 13 years, and I've never seen a program like ABC Mouse. It encompasses science, math, reading, social studies.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials. Sponsored by Age of Learning.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820 AM, where facts matter. Take it away, Richard.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. It is Friday, and, of course, this is a 7 o'clock hour. Make your way over to our heartlandsignal.com digital platform because, of course, the articles and the posts that we have there are very informative and gives you the ability to pass on information that the folks in your world may need to see and hear. Particularly our wonderful U.S. representative, I say ours, meaning us as progressives, Jasmine Crockett from Texas, throws some shade at DOJ subcommittee chair, none other than Marjorie, from Georgia. Quote, we had a number of these hearings last term, and we dealt with improper payments, and increasingly enough, our chairwoman, who is so passionate about this today, missed the opportunity to deal with those. That's from Jasmine Crockett. Check her out at our Heartland Signal X. Another really good clip that you guys want to peek into. This one I don't know how the folks maintain themselves on this. While arguing for a bill to restrict state workers from remote work, Wisconsin State Senator Corey Tomczak, Republican from Mosinee District, disputes, check this out, y'all, disputes whether the COVID-19 pandemic was real. He said, I don't think we had a pandemic. I think we had a failure. And y'all wonder why we have so many people that need to be called stupid. All right, guys, make your way over to heartlandsignal.com and check out our digital platform and all the cool stuff that we have there for you to read and review. Yeah, that's the place to be. Henry, why are you making all that noise in the background, Henry? What's all that commotion? Henry, stop making so much noise, man.
Oh, man.
Well, good morning, ladies. Well,
we were smooching over in the corner over here.
Yeah, on Valentine's Day.
Of course. It's spreading the love. That's right.
The cheery voices you guys hear this morning are not mine and Henry's going back and forth. That would be our great friend, Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast. And we got Baby in the corner. Ooh. How about that? That was good.
Baby's in the corner.
And
all right.
Natalie Ziemba, a little bit of everything. Love First is a T-shirt she's wearing, y'all.
Yeah.
With us this morning to chat it up here on Choose Views. And it's going to be an interesting next hour. Trust me when I say that.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
So you had a little traffic issue. Was everybody okay? You said it was a fire on the expressway?
Yeah, there was a vehicle fire on the eastbound, so the inbound Jane Addams. It was pretty nasty.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
But I'm here.
You're here. You are here. And, both of my colleagues are here, and I'm glad to have you with us. And as you probably heard, I was leaning into our senators taking the lead and having their voices be out there. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse talking about the awfulness of the impending approval of Kash Patel as our one of the other members of the cabinet. I don't even want to give him a title.
It's going to be a nightmare. Not good.
And then Senator Warren talking about the importance of CFPB being in place. Because as I was saying, and you guys heard, this is not an organization that is designed to help just folks in blue states or any particular political group or economic level of a person in the country. It's designed to help everybody be protected from fraud and have some form of restitution when there is fraud that takes place. And so
That's right.
I think we have the responsibility to continue to support what they're doing. At the same time, when people are making stupid decisions, and at this point, we don't need to coddle them any longer.
No.
We've coddled folks way too long. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and across the board, we're going to see with the cabinet appointees, this is going to disproportionately affect people in rural communities, poor communities. Across the board, you're going to see minorities being disproportionately affected. This is not an issue of, oh, well, I thought maybe I would save. The economy was, looking dire, so I voted for Trump. This is going to be a dismantling of the government that was there with safety nets and help for all across the board. So now, it's not about party lines anymore. My biggest concern is things like the CFPB. I'm watching very closely what's going on in Texas, what's going on in Oklahoma with school boards and school vouchers and this nonsense about school choice and how they're repackaging all of this. Again, dismantling piece by piece, thread by thread, these little things. And guess who's going to get affected now in Texas? Rural communities, where they're going to take money out of public school districts. And then what are they going to do? Shift it over into areas that frankly don't need it.
So what I'm hearing, and thank you, Natalie.
Exactly.
That this is what happens, guys, when you have folks that pay attention and that get outside of the box and know what's happening, not just in her specific councilwoman community, but what's happening in other parts of the country. Because we know that a federal program that geo targets a particular area ends up affecting a bigger area than that. It's
right.
Respectfully,
There's
I say
effect.
it has a domino effect.
Total domino effect. It's going to affect everything. When you make it harder for people to be able to save money, to be able to for a down payment. I mean, I'm a real estate agent. If we do not provide those types of protections, consumer protections, and if we don't do something, to bring down the cost of food, bring down the cost of school, which, by the way, Kamala Harris was going to do. Okay, $25,000 for first-time home buyers, right? $75,000 for small businesses. We all benefit when those things are done, because then people are able to not, come out of college with a massive student loan debt. So then they're able to use that money to be able to invest in themselves in their future so that they could potentially achieve affordable home ownership.
Check this out. So the domino effect in the positive light is this. So someone is able to have assistance to purchase a home. So the inventory gets moved. Homes sell faster. As a result of the home selling faster, there's a better tax base in the community, which then helps stabilize taxes. And mayors of cities and governors of states don't have to find ways to raise taxes on people.
That's right.
And right. You get to talk about that. And so if that happens, just in the housing piece, then the overall cost of housing goes down.
Right.
Because we don't have stagnant inventory.
That's right.
Economics 101. Again, sometimes you do have to call some people stupid for what they did.
Right.
And I'm tired of we as progressives, and I say we, not being willing, not the three of us, because I'm sorry, I know not the four of us, not being willing to step to people. If there is a lesson learned, right now from across the board for our political community, is that we no longer have the luxury, and I say this all the time, to not call people on their BS real time.
That's right.
We have to let them know. Had we elected Vice President Harris to presidency, we wouldn't be messing around and wondering what the hell's going to happen with our global safety with Ukraine. We wouldn't be worrying about Okay, so now that we've elected her, if prices don't go down, well, what they aren't going to do is they aren't going to go up because of artificial means like tariffs.
Right.
Well, and look at the thing, what I would call, and you'll start hearing this more and more because of USAID and the dismantling of that, soft diplomacy. That is going to be completely gone. Yeah. And when you're an average American, you don't understand the importance of things like soft diplomacy around the world. Right. We dealt with it decades and decades ago during the Cold War, right? You figure out other ways to work through policy, and you find smaller allies that are willing to lift you up and support you. You start now dismantling USAID, and guess what? Those countries that we were helping, and I'm not going to say support, but we were assisting in really important initiatives, are turning where to now? China.
They're turning to our not our allies.
No.
They're turning to, for lack of better words, our enemies.
Right. Or exactly.
We're ceding ground. Totally ceding ground.
And because it doesn't directly affect average Americans' day-to-day life, they forget about it. It's like it doesn't exist. Guess what? We're going to start noticing real quick in things like AI, technology, all of the chips, microchips that go into our computing systems. Guess where all of that is going to go? To China and into the hands of our enemies.
Well, and it was also a part of national security, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, because these were, the places that we were serving are destabilized. And many of the places that we were helping were destabilized by U.S. policies in those countries.
Yeah, let's make no mistake about that.
So, Republican policies.
But our border czar, our former border czar, Kamala Harris, she
we laugh.
That's the nerve, right? She wasn't trying to figure out what it was that our country has done to, attribute to the destabilization of certain countries that were then contributing to migration. Well, she wasn't trying to do that to figure that problem out and how we could stem that problem and that tide. Nah, she was. So the sarcasm there is by design. Guys, listen, we know, and we're coming up on this break we're going to take in a moment, to Natalie's point about our allies that we've been supporting. This is where programs like USAID, people have got to dig a little bit deeper than just to think that, we're sending off, condoms to folks in Ukraine. How stupid is that in the first place?
Right.
This is why, again, I'm hung on this for a moment because it's not calling actions that are stupid is irresponsible on our part. Not calling out the things that people are not paying attention to what you said by digging deeper to understand what USAID really, really does. And then tying that to national security, or in this case, potential insecurity and threats.
Right.
And then having a little 4-year-old boy, and I'll leave you guys with this before we go to break. A little 4-year-old boy.
We love the optics of that. I'm sorry. Talk about ceding power. Wow. I mean, just the positioning of Elon and him standing with a baseball hat and a T-shirt over the Resolute desk where the president was sitting with a 4-year-old on his shoulder. The optics of that, it was beautiful. Yeah. I'm sorry. I loved all of that.
So all of the maggots out there that are talking about how strong your boy is, I don't think he is.
He's weak.
All right, guys, there it is. 6. We're not even.
We just dove right in. I love it.
I know. Deep into the pool. All right, guys, 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
When you think of erectile dysfunction, think of Mark Drugs. Dr. Craig here with Mark Drugs in Roselle and Deerfield, letting you know that we are here to help. Over 50% of all men over the age of 40 report symptoms of erectile dysfunction, and the other half might be too shy to admit it. We stock generic versions of the most popular ED medications for as little as $1 per pill that we could dispense with a valid prescription. We can also arrange delivery next day if needed. Additionally, we can help if your case is more complicated due to previous prostate issues. You may be a candidate for our prescription compounded Trimix products. We can also help women experiencing dryness or atrophy with low-dose prescription estrogen creams or hormone-free over-the-counter products such as Dr. Cheng's New Eve Silk. We understand that it's not the easiest thing to discuss, but believe me, we've heard it all. We are here to help you love making love again. You have a choice when it comes to your health care, and a great choice is Mark Drugs in Roselle and Deerfield, where you get better health and care for you and your pets. That's markdrugs.com.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. The deep end of the pool is crowded right now because we just dove in to deal with the issues that we have in front of us. And to have a little bit of fun with this, we're going to, let's take a couple calls. Henry, what do you think? Let's go to Jim here in Chicago. Hey, Jim, good morning. Welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning. The fascists take over the Kennedy Center. Got everybody running for the X's. Renee Fleming, one of my favorite singers, she's no longer be there. But I know the opening act will probably be Musk and the Afrikaners. They'll redo Springtime for Hitler. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Jim. It's crazy, man. It's like, okay.
That's what then he's going to have the January 6th parolees, like the Tabernacle Choir, and they're going to sing fascist songs.
Yeah, I know.
But Trump's going to dance, which is really going to be interesting. That's what I heard. I heard
the jerk dance.
Training. He's been trained. Anyway, you guys have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, for calling. Let's go to Earl in Hyde Park. Good morning, Earl. Welcome to the show.
Oh, good morning, Richard, and good morning to the ladies.
Good morning.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, Richard, I wasn't including you.
Fine.
Be that way.
Okay. See, Earl. Let me. Since we're calling people out, you always ask me to have your back when it comes to Eric Grant. And the minute you get a chance to kick me to the curb, you kick me to the curb. So you're on your own when it comes to Eric. I am no longer having your back. You had my faithful support, and the minute you had a chance, two fine, great, brilliant women show up, and you kicked me to the curb like a piece of garbage. So you deal with Eric on your own. I'm done with you. That's how I roll. What you got to say?
Oh, well, I'm hoping that you'll forget this moment.
Nah.
He put it in his notebook.
Done.
Well, the reason why I called in this morning was when you were talking earlier today, it reminded me of two things. The first thing was that all of these agencies that Elon Musk is going after are ones that can penalize him and can penalize Trump. Yep. Remember, Trump had this thing going on where he was duping these people for Trump, the Trump College, and he had to pay money back for that. Remember, he was had some kind of fundraising organization where he was spending the money on his own personal gains, property, rather than giving back to the people that the funds were supposed to be raised on. Some of these agencies were going after Trump as far as his duping his supporters by falsely advertising what the money was going for. So we have to understand part of the problem with Musk is also that some of these agencies are looking into his dealings with his companies.
Right.
And he was under scrutiny. Yep. So it's a little bit more complicated and more self-serving than the overview that you were putting out earlier today. And I just don't know how you're going to reach American people when they hear the truth and they don't digest it and internalize it.
We don't have to, Errol. We don't have to get everybody in masses. So let me put it to you this way: in terms of where we should put our energy, we should put our energy, I believe, toward the people that are the easiest ones to quote unquote save. Again, going back to my lifeguard analogy, and our good friend Cindy from Michigan sent a really great text. She said, "Richard, this is Cindy from Michigan. As for saving the drowning people, watch out for the crazy ones. They'll pull you under." Earl, I'm not trying to say that we should save the ones that are drowning or willfully ignorant. That just keep fighting us
Jumping
on
in the
this.
deep end.
I'm saying let's go after the ones that are closest to us that we can impact bit by bit. Not trying to say we're going to get everybody at one time. Bit by bit. And that's how we reclaim some territory.
And can I just say, I think that this is a real opportunity, too, because people are actually going to be feeling it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
with all of the FAFO.
To your point, Earl,
they're
absolutely.
feeling it. And this is an opportunity then for our Democratic leadership to explain to people, tell the story why they're feeling that way. Because we know that they don't always connect the dots, right?
Right.
So that is where that messaging comes in at the leadership level to say, hey, listen, we understand that this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is why it's happening.
And here's what
this
our
is
fix
what
is.
we would do.
Right. That's
it.
to tie that all together.
Yeah.
Earl, thanks, man, for your call this morning. We got to keep
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
man.
All right, Richard. I hope you have a short memory.
I do.
Bye, Earl.
Not really.
Bye,
People that know me
All
know
right.
that.
Bye, lady.
Goodbye.
Your Valentine's sweetheart, Earl.
Mm-hmm.
I have a long memory, Earl. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. All right, let's see if we can squeeze Ron in real quickly before we come up on this next break. Ron, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, folks. This is Black History Month, and Trump did declare Black History Month, but the next day, Pete Buttigieg declared that there will be no more Black or any history months recognized within the military. And their policy is a racist policy. And an example of that is there's a Black engineering school. I forget the name of it now, but it's a top engineering school. And they have a yearly meeting where minority young people come to apply for scholarships and jobs. And this is one of the military's biggest recruiting tools for Black engineers, and it's been eliminated from the military's participation, which goes along with the racism and that this administration is carrying out. Now, somebody mentioned of South Africa. Now, Trump and Musk, those are allies. And South Africa, I was wondering, this Musk connection, besides stealing all our money, Musk wants to bring in white supremacists to this country. And I contend that they are going to be brought in here to fill our military, because our military will be stripped of any Black people unless they are total bootlickers. And the same thing with white people. They're going to have to take an oath of supremacy, of allegiance to the white supremacist leaders here. And they will be replaced with South Africans, in my opinion, who will be totally loyal to this fascist Nazi new regime that is being put into place. Now, this may sound far-fetched, but
no, Ron, it does.
Everything that's happening in this country, in this world, under Trump is new and totally unbelievable.
No, Ron, first of all, thank you for your contribution and thanks for your call. I don't think that it sounds far-fetched. I think that part of the challenge that Democratic leadership and Democratic everyday folks have fallen to is not taking certain things seriously. And as a result, then ground gets ceded, territory gets ceded, thoughts, ideas, policy gets ceded because folks don't take it seriously. And they go, oh, well, that's probably not going to happen. Why should I worry about that? Mm-hmm. And case in point, and thanks for your call, Ron. We got to keep moving along. Case in point on that is the conversation around Roe v. Wade. Everybody was telling women, oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Girls, stop worrying. Don't get your undies in. And what happened?
It happened.
And voting, I mean, the list goes on. So I'm just saying right now, y'all, everybody, draw a damn line in the sand and say this stuff could happen because we've got evidence of things recently happening. And this is the time, because listen, the goal is everything you think it might be. It's to continue to cause chaos and distraction so that people are not watching what's happening behind the curtain because the distractions over here are so much more sexy and illuminating.
Exactly.
But it's the other items that are being missed. Go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, hey, look over here while we're distracted by, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. Look over here, Greenland. Look over here. What are they doing? They're going in and they're taking over data, which is now the new gold and the new oil, right? It's a commodity. So they're taking and stealing our data to do what with it? Monetize it and profit off of it, right? They're taking over things like the Treasury. They're dismantling protective things within our government that were there to help people in the middle class. They want to get rid of the middle class, right? They don't want a powerful middle class. They don't want an educated middle class. They want really poor people and the 1% super ultra wealthy. And people may bash Bernie Sanders and trash talk him. If nothing else, the man has been consistent for 40 years, 50 years about his message. You can go back to the 1980s and listen to speeches by Bernie Sanders. It's almost exactly identical word for word what was happening. It is happening. It is at our doorstep right now. And we're just rolling over and letting it happen. Absolutely not. We're going to take this country back. I mean it. We're here. We're in this fight. We're doing it.
Well, right. And yeah, I mean,
thanks, Natalie.
And I do think, Natalie, the good news is that we're not just rolling over. There are people out there mobilizing. There are people out. There's going to be a big protest nationwide in D.C. and then every state capital tomorrow. There's going to be. I'm actually going to go to the one at Lurie Children's Hospital because they rolled back their gender affirming care for individuals under 19 years of age, which targets the most marginalized, and the most at risk. Like, it's a smallest segment of that whole community, but they are the most at risk.
Yeah, and I was, without getting too personal, my wife and I were talking about this the other day in terms of everybody's family has someone that is impacted by is impacted by a child and in many cases an adult that's struggling with where they are when it comes to their sexuality. Sure. And anybody that sits around and says that this is something that was just created recently is in denial, hasn't paid attention to history.
And I guarantee you they don't know that they met
and
somebody
they don't know that
trans.
they met. So thank you. You buttoned that one up nicely. So
because God forbid somebody else takes up a tiny little space of a conversation, that cannot happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because now we're seeing the fragility of white men in this country that have had everything at their fingertips, made at their disposal. A tiny fraction of Americans are now taking up a tiny fraction of space, and it's hurting their egos.
Well, because it just goes to show, I've said this so many times on the air to you guys in one-on-one conversations. It just goes to show what Eric has talked about, Eric Grant in the family meeting, and so many black men have said candidly that these guys are not all about that. They're not that. And so I'll share something. You guys need to. I'll try to bring this clip. I had it and I forgot to send it to Henry. Of President Obama on the Smoke podcast, and basically he says, the thing that I probably was reminded of the most is that I'm in these rooms with different dignitaries from across the globe, particularly here in America, and you realize that they're not. They're not all about that. They're not that great. And I'll put that in the vein of why we are where we are in large measure. Most of these guys are mediocre.
Mediocre white men.
They're very mediocre.
And less than mediocre in the White House right now.
Yeah, and let's not confuse that with saying something that people want to go, oh, you're insulting people, or you're calling them names. Sometimes they need to be called the name that's appropriate for the action or the mediocrity that they live in. And that's what's causing all this consternation. They want to, it is not about anything other than a bunch of mediocre, candidly white guys. And here's where I go to my exceptional white brothers out there. I'm not talking to you.
Right.
And what's happening is more and more exceptional white dudes
are getting offended.
Are saying, hey, wait a minute. That dude is kind of mediocre.
Oh, now they're starting to pay attention.
So my exceptional white dudes are going, yeah, that's true. He is kind of mediocre. And we've been tolerating that for way too long. So this is another one of those moments, but it is also time for us to take a break because we got a guest holding on the line. 773-763-9278. Quick break. We'll be right back.
We need...
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
Once you erase the boundary between Congress making laws and the president executing laws, what you have is an authoritarian government, and that's exactly what he's advocating for.
That's Senator Jeff Merkley, Democrat of Oregon, speaking on MSNBC shortly after the Senate confirmed Russell Vought to be Donald Trump's director of the Office of Management and Budget. Hours earlier on the Senate floor, Merkley called vote Trump's most dangerous nominee.
He's advocating for the imperial presidency. We saw him do this with the impoundment of the money for Ukraine. We saw it in what he did in a think tank before he wrote Project 2025. We saw it in Project 2025. And we saw it in when he proceeded to work with OMB to launch the dead of night directive to shut down payments across the country. This is why he's so incredibly dangerous. He is a threat not just to the law, a threat to our constitutional separation of powers.
For WCPT and Heartland Signal, I'm Mike Mercado.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. A few spotty snow showers possible late today. Otherwise, partial sunshine develops. We'll see a high in the upper 20s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. For tonight, a chance for some snow, possibly mixing with freezing rain here late. Cloudy with temperatures holding steady. Saturday, a chance for snow, freezing rain, and sleet mixing at times. Cloudy and a high around 35. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 7 above.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
It's Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chew's Views, 773-763-9278. So during the convention, I had a number of moments where I saw people and met people and kind of had a 30-second geek out or like, wow, that's him, or wow, that's her. And one of those people that happened with was at the DNC was none other than Sherman Dilla Thomas, who was with us this morning. And all I'm going to say is, brother, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't such a fan of this station, no way on earth I'd be up at 7:30. I really, really appreciate the truth telling you all do. So, I got up.
There you go. Well, we'll send you a cup of coffee and whatever your favorite morning beverage is. But listen, man, first and foremost, right out of the gate, I have to congratulate you on your new appointment and such a well-deserved role for you that's been telling truth and historical truth about the city of Chicago and the greater area for a long time. And as a lifetime Chicagoan myself, you are truly a champion of all things Chicago, but certainly the South Side. And now, as you're taking on this role with DuSable Black History Museum, during the Black History Month, what better time to be able to celebrate you and celebrate your ambassadorship? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I am now the brand ambassador and the chief of social media for the DuSable Museum of Black History and Education Center. And I'm really honored to have that post. My primary role will be to engage with younger folks, engage with folks that spend a lot of time on social media, and try to get them to understand that this institution is not just a vital part of Black Chicago, but it's a vital part of all Chicago. All Chicagoans, regardless of their ethnicity or the demographics that they come from, I should be extremely proud that in our city, the oldest Black History Museum is in Chicago. And so we want to tell those stories. Perhaps you live in Andersonville or all the way over in Edison Park, and you didn't have a chance to get to the South Side as much as you like, but maybe we could bring those exhibits to Instagram and to TikTok and get folks involved. So I'm looking forward to creating programming and really uplifting the mission of the museum.
And we're excited about that as well because of what you just said. The broader, one of the things that I've said for a long time, and you're in a role now to be able to highlight that is, Black history is American history, and to the end that people have an issue with there being a Black History Month. It's American history. So are you saying we shouldn't have a History Month for the United States of America? But more specific to the role that you're going to be in, there are lesser known. Not lesser known. There are communities that don't know enough about the history of the city, not just the Black history of the city, but also the other ethnic groups and their history of the city. Now, granted, we know that we have a strong, diverse what's the word I want? Melting pot of a city. But we also have some uniquenesses that you're going to be able to highlight. And I'm really excited about your ability, because you do have such a strong social media presence, to be able to put those things out there for folks. That's gonna be exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm looking at ways to cross-collaborate in order to highlight exactly what you just said, right? You know, what does it look like to get the Chicago Mongolian American community to come have programming at the DuSable Museum? You know, I bet you most Chicagoans don't know that there are more Mongolian Americans living in the Chicagoland region than any other area in our country, right? And so Rogers Park has, maybe the third largest demographic of indigenous Native American folks living there. We have a beautiful and amazing Japanese American community, right? If you are worried about a tornado, right, they're going to say it's an F1 or F2. The F in tornado stand for Theodore Tetsuya Fujita, who was a University of Chicago meteorologist. And he's one of the guys that kind of anchors Japanese Americans here in our amazing city. And so I want to tell those stories. And in many instances, those stories connect right back to blackness in our city. And that, again, should make our city proud. One of our most amazing neighborhoods, right, is Chinatown. Everybody knows where Chinatown is. As soon as you get off the train on Cermak, we all go down there to eat, drink boba teas and go to Ming Hin. Mm-hmm. And why is Chinatown there? Because a black banker by the name of Jesse Benga was one of the only bankers who would loan money to the Asian Americans who were buying property in Armour Square. So we're connected, whether we know it or not. And, I'm looking forward to building relationships. And then I want to do it the other way, right? I want to put people on my bus and take them to the Swedish American Museum, take them to the Polish American Museum, take them to the National Puerto Rican Heritage Museum, and show how we're really intertwined and we're better together.
Man,
I'm fangirling over here.
Yeah, you've got two fans, and you got four fans in the studio, all of us of the work, but specifically Natalie Ziemba is here with us, and of course Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics. I know they've got a couple of comments they want to throw your way.
I think you are extraordinary. This is Natalie, and I just want to say, I am big-time fangirling. I am a product of the South Side of Chicago. I grew up real close to Comiskey Park in Bridgeport, near Pilsen. Most of my family, immediate family is still in that area. And, that area of the city is has a little bit of a, there's some spotty history there, for sure. We're proud of it being a community of churches, a community of immigrants, for sure, but it was a very segregated part of the city, right? You knew if you're on one side of Halsted, you're kind of with these people. If you're on this side of Halsted, streets not to cross, areas of Bridgeport to enter and not. And you kind of learn, okay, it's also a really neat part of the city because I can walk to the corner, get on the bus, and be downtown in 15 minutes. Or I can, if I want to hike it over to Chinatown, I can pretty easily, right? I can get to the lakefront. I can take 31st Street and just get to the lake. So, growing up in that part of the city taught me a lot. Grittiness, resilience, and I'm real proud of that. But I'm also very aware of, I don't sugarcoat things, right? I know where I grew up, and I know that it has a tarnished history as well. It's the community, it's the neighborhood of mayors, and for good or bad, it is, right? It's the 11th Ward. So I grew up kind of with, politics in my blood, so to speak.
Yeah.
They're working hard to shed that over there in Bridgeport too, which I appreciate. There's a place called Stutzy's Diner that's on 35th and Halsted. Used to be the Bridgeport Diner was the name of it, and it's such a Chicago story. I try to get through it as fast as I can. A black man's car ran out of gas leaving a Sox game, trying to get back to, I believe, Inglewood, and it cuts off right in front of Stutzy's. This is in the early 1970s. And so, as you mentioned, there have been some people in Bridgeport that wasn't really fans of having black folks in the neighborhood. So he tells his family, like, hey, I'm going to get out and run so the guys chase me, and then you guys try to find some help. And so he does that, and he gets chased, and eventually he gets caught and attacked. His daughters and his wife try to run into the Bridgeport diner, but they lock the door and won't let them in. And then the people who lived in the apartments above them start throwing food items down at these little girls. And fast forward now to 2025, those little girls own the diner.
Amazing.
They own Dusty.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the and you know what? When you walk in there, you see people from Bridgeport and Canaryville of all types of colors, and that's a sign of progress, in my opinion. And so, yeah, Bridgeport and some other areas too, right? Mount Greenwood and so many things, but it also happened in the reverse, right? That's one of the things that I'm pushing very hard, and I'm going to be pushing in this role. I'm sure kids in Bridgeport were told, don't go to Inglewood, right? I'm sure kids in Canaryville were told to stay out of Roseland. So the more we learn about each other and the gems and the history that can be found in these spaces, the more we'll go, the more we'll be connected, and Chicago can continue to be the light of the country. The country needs Chicago right now with everything that's going on. We're going to end up being a beacon of light, and the politicians out of Chicago and our governor and so many other people are getting ready to be very, very important to continuing democracy, if we're being honest. So history is going to play a big role in that.
Sherm, one of the things that's so great about what you just said, your last 2 or 3 sentences, is Chicago is the light. We're the center right now because so much of the people that are standing up on a national level are coming out of Chicago and the state of Illinois. And that's not just me being a homer. That's evidenced by the people, whether it be Mayor Johnson, City Council, Ms. Preckwinkle, Governor Pritzker. Our folks are standing up. And I think part of that is in the nature of who we are as Chicagoans and the greater communities in the suburbs. We're fighters here.
Yep.
You know, the reason that we take on the label of Second City with pride is because we know how to fight. And you are one of those people as well. And one of our colleagues and one of your boys in Jamal Cole, we had him on last week. And you guys are unapologetic about the greatness of Chicago. And you guys have stepped up and said, listen, we're going to talk about our city, all of our city. And this is one of the things why I'm so proud of what you're doing, because you reached out to other communities to say we're all connected. Even though we've got these linear splits in neighborhoods, we're still connected. And you've leaned into that. And you've taken some heat from folks from different communities that have said, why are you doing it that way? But because you believe in the strength of our unity. And that can't be, it can't be overstated. And I got to continue to give you your flowers there, man. I appreciate that part of the work that you're doing.
But thank you. In the words of the great theologian Meek Mills, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Yeah.
So I realize that, right? That if I must be doing something right. That people that could be spending time with their family or walking their dog attack me on Twitter just because I won't say negative things about folks here in Chicago. And we're not perfect. We got a lot of things that we need to work through. But even our issues find root historically in a few things, right? It's usually outside forces and people trying to make a ton of money that end up dividing us and splitting us.
That's right.
When in reality, we all want the same things. And so, again, being able to operate out of this institution and bring people to the institution, where, I'm right this very moment, we're planning a engagement with Tanya Lozano and Brother Rami from the Inner City Muslim Action Network to have a conversation behind what we're all experiencing and seeing right now. Prior to the presidential election, there was a little tension between the black community and the Arab community and the brown community, and everyone didn't feel like each other was voting in each other's interests. But on the other side of that, and everything that's going on today, we want to have a conversation about what's dividing these communities and how can we unite these communities through shared struggles and shared benefits. And so you're right, I'm going to continue to reach across to other communities. I had the good fortune of being raised by a Chicago policeman, and my dad was at one point vice president of the African American Police League, and he was a cop for 32 years. But he had buddies that were also cops that lived everywhere. We would be all over the city going to see his friends, and the only difference in their races when we went and visited them was the food, right? Some people had more seasoning. That was it. Everything else was exactly the same. Their kids were getting yelled at like I was getting yelled at, and all that other good stuff. And so, I'm glad I had that experience, because I really think that's can be the atypical Chicago experience.
Sherman, thank you for being with us. We're going to have you back after you kind of get your plane landed and you're making some things happen at DuSable to talk about projects that you are working on, and bring us up to speed on things that people need to know about the museum and the outreach and ways for folks to come and see some of the exhibits and some of the things that you're going to be doing. So we want to have you back. We're probably going to have you back on a monthly basis, my man, because what you're doing and your position and your belief system needs to be heard not only by those that are here locally, but folks that are throughout the rest of the country as it relates to unity. So, Sherman, thank you so much for being with us. How can folks find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on social media. My username is at SixFigureDilla, the number 6, FIGGA_DILLA. Please come book a Chicago Mahogany tour at chicagomahogany.com. And, I'm easy to find. And I'll definitely be at the DuSable.
Absolutely. Thanks, man, for being with us. Happy Valentine's Day from one brother to another.
You too, my brother.
All right, man. Be well. Be safe. Wow.
That was
Love
amazing.
it.
I love him.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He is. I accidentally started, he had posted something on social media. This was like a year and a half ago. And I was like, this is really cool. And then I started following more of his stuff. And I call myself knowing a little bit about Chicago and the area. And I was like, I know about that. I know about that. And that's what happened. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, man, let's stay connected on social. And then lo and behold, literally the very first day, this is what happened. This is when I was like, the whole thing about divine intervention and where you're supposed to be is I got to McCormick Place the first day. Literally, I got there, to walk into the auditorium and the expo. And we were walking in together. And I looked over him. I said, aren't you sure? He said, yeah. And I was like, so kind of a little bit of, one of those serendipitous moments. And speaking of that, guys, last year, there was this great event up in Lake in the Hills, and that event was largely run by the Democratic women of McHenry County. And so they're inviting you out again this year to Trailblazers and Fundraisers, Saturday, February 22nd, from 11 until 2 at the Boulder Ridge Country Club in Lake in the Hills. And guess who's going to be the main voice, the person that's going to be chatting up, and that keynote speaker is going to be our very own Joan Esposito.
Yay.
Keynote speaker Joan Esposito will be speaking on that Saturday. I'll be there, and of course, City Councilwoman who's sitting next to me of Woodstock, Natalie Ziemba, will be there, and of course, our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics podcast,
Baby in the Corner,
will be there. So it's a great event, guys. Get out and support. If you can't get there, then go online and send them some money. But it's the McHenry County Democratic Women's event. It's a Trailblazers and Fundraisers. It's always a wonderful event to attend. And, you guys can go to the website. Natalie, tell the website.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a real proud board member of the McHenry County Democratic Women. Come to mccdw.net. All the information is there. I hope to see you, some old friends, new friends, on February 22nd.
That's right. It'll be a lot of fun to attend. It was great fun last year.
Yeah, lively.
It was lively. Wow.
Hey, we have a good time. We know how to throw a party.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. We'll keep it there because we don't have enough time to talk about the other side of what happened there and where we are now as it relates to who got elected. But that being said, you guys, it's always great when we have someone like Sherman on the show because he's out there, as I use this phrase so often, sleeves rolled up and elbows deep in this fight. And I love what he had to say about, it's the outreach to,
unity.
I mean, that's coming from his heart. That's coming from that dude's soul. He understands the importance of that. And it's our superpower right now.
That's right.
as it relates to taking back.
Well, and if you look throughout history, the only way we progress, the only way the needle is moved forward at all is when we unite.
Yep.
When people come together. And I've been thinking a lot about Reverend Barber, in the Poor People's Campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's been saying that for forever. When of all different demographics, when we all unite together, then we are stronger. We can, we can actually move the needle, and we can progress, and we can get the things that all of us need and all of us benefit then. And I think too about, is it Heather McGhee, the Some of Us, and the racial hierarchy, and, this idea with these middle class, poor white folks that will fill in the swimming pool if it means that they can keep, black people away from their stuff, right? So they're willing to take away things from themselves, services from themselves, as long as it hurts the right people.
Right.
And then that racial hierarchy where they're not on the bottom rung, they can hold themselves superior to somebody.
My good friend, his name is Bob Sherrill. He's been a mentor of mine for 30 years. And Bob said to me one day, and I'll cite this as quickly as I can because I have a clip I want to play that I've had a lot of requests, like I'm a DJ, but we're going to play it anyhow. We were playing golf. This was years ago, and it was a par 3. We got backed up a little bit, and the group in front of us, or 2 groups in front of us, were 2 women that were playing, and the guys behind us, there were 3 groups of us waiting at the tee box on a par 3, just to give you guys a visual. So it slowed down. It was a Saturday. Everybody was out playing, blah, blah, blah. But the group in front of us were 2 women playing together. And one of the guys from one of the groups behind us that was waiting made the comment that, well, the reason that we're waiting is because of those, and he used the L word, as in lesbian, are slowing everything down. And some other comments that don't need to be repeated. But the tenor was, it was because of these 2 lesbian women that were playing golf that were slowing everything down. It was an awful comment. So we hit our shots. We go up to the green. We were away from the guys. And I turned to Bob and I said, it's just really disgusting, the things that come out of people's mouths and how they want to denigrate. Those women weren't affecting, sometimes it's the nature of, sometimes you wait.
It's golf.
I said the professionals wait sometimes. And he turned to me and he said, Richard, somebody always has to have somebody else to step on, which shows their own inabilities and their own weaknesses.
Yeah.
And it stayed with me. I can tell you, we're right where we were playing the golf course, the whole 9, where we were when this happened. And it stayed with me because that's where we are. Somebody's got, to Karen's point, got to step on somebody else. However, and we're going to play this clip that we played earlier in the week, Preach. It's like, because the only reason they're coming after us is because we're special.
Something extraordinary about you. You must be pretty special if an entire movement of MAGA people had to create a Project 2025 to erase your contributions, remove your genius, marginalize your brilliance, disenfranchise your power, restrict your participation, and miseducate the nation's children. Maybe you don't know how powerful you are, black people. Billionaires funded, lawyers plotted, think tanks studied, politicians gathered, insurrectionists on January 6th planned, entire news networks broadcast, and a so-called president gave executive orders, all centered on quieting the power of a people who will not be silent. To quote the comedic prophet by the name of Cat Williams, you don't spend this much time and money trying to convince people you don't like they are nothing. You don't like someone, you don't think about them. But if you have to pass laws, broadcast news stories, and blame all the problems in the nation on the people who built the nation, claiming they are the problem, something is not right. There is something special about you. The world wants our rhythm, but not our blues.
So Guys, there it is. I will tell you this and just say this as we leave you for the weekend. It's been great having Natalie and having Karen with us today. On Monday, I won't be here, but guess who will be here? Michelle Peltier from the family meeting. She'll be sitting in for me Monday. And y'all got to call in.
Yes.
Because Michelle will be sitting in and hosting for me on Monday, the 17th. I'll be out of town taking care of some stuff with some family and all that good stuff. But, guys, make sure to tune in on Monday because Michelle will be here. And I wanted to make sure to, as we wrap up the show, to let everybody know that. So call in and let her know you love her and send her some kind words and all that good stuff. Guys, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us. And can I just send out a little shout out to my kids and my grandkids and their significant others. And then, of course, my numero uno Valentine, my husband, Rich.
There you go.
Happy VD, honey.
Natalie, you want to send out a little love?
Well, of course, to my partner in crime, Tom. And I got to, of course, say hi to Mom. Barb is for sure listening. She's loving this. We love Barb. Barb will be there on the 22nd.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Barb is the stuff, y'all.
Old school, man.
Yes,
She's the OG.
Yes, she is.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's good having you guys with us, and I appreciate you both making it in. And I think we had a little fun. I think we probably got a few people to laugh at our silliness. So. But listen, guys, take that this weekend and use it. Enjoy the Valentine's Day weekend. It's always great when Valentine's is on a Friday. It's like an extended weekend, and Monday's sort of, and added to that. But I'll be back on Tuesday, and Michelle will be here with you on Monday. So give her some love. You guys make it a great weekend. Be safe. And as always, take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you next week.
Join me and WCPT Radio at the Southland Friends of Labor 16th Annual Jobs Breakfast, Monday, February 24th. We will be in Joliet at IBEW Local 176. This special union event is free to all active and retired union members and all WCPT listeners. Come and enjoy a great breakfast and WCPT's special broadcast with me. Guests being interviewed include Andy Rico, Business Manager, IBEW Local 176, Bob Howard, President of the Chicago and Western Lakesport Council, and Stephen Powell, President of Local 881 UFCW. Doors open at 7:30. If you want to attend,